Hey there guys, I'm the Galaxy Ninja and I'm going to be doing a partial CTF walkthrough. In this particular video I'm going to focus on cryptography. Some people group cryptography and steganography together. In this particular case I will not be doing that. What does cryptography mean even? Well, Merriam-Webster defines it as either secret writing or the enciphering and deciphering of messages in secret code or cipher. Also, the computerized encoding and decoding of information. Well, I've been ciphering since I've been about 7 years old, and I can tell you one thing. The different types of cipher, different types of cryptography, they're almost endless. You know, you can have really simple ones, and you all the way to super complicated ones, like the Enigma was back in, World War II. But we're going to focus on a couple of the simpler ones and on simpler versions of the simpler ones. I'm going to go through a couple of show you a couple of different automated tools, some useful websites that I like, and I'm also going to explain it, how to do it by hand. So what we're going to go ahead and do right now is we're going to start out by opening a web browser. Now I'm using the Red Team Labs edition of Linux. You don't technically need Linux for this particular set of challenges, but we are going to be going into steganography next, and you will need Linux for that. Well, I'll show you. Alright, look at this. Boycott Google. Woo! So we're going to go ahead and get started by going into the CTF. Into the CTF scoreboard. So let's go ahead and https ///107 dot 170 dot 164 dot 77, again that colon, and 3000. Now it's gonna say untrusted connection, what are we gonna do? Well, if you don't understand the risks, then you're not gonna be able to join along. So go ahead and add exception. Now you can permanently store the exception, but right now we're doing the CTF on this particular location. It might be on a different location next time, and we can't guarantee that we're gonna have this, so just always be careful. So here we have a timeline and a scoreboard. Obviously everything's 0 right now. And we have our little login up here. We're going to go ahead and log in. Teacher 3. Woo! Let's see if I get it on the first try here. Score! So now if you go to Scoreboard here and you try and click on things, oh my goodness, it doesn't work. You have to go to My Scoreboard. Again, you probably already know this, but just in case. Again, one of the things I will mention is that I am the first person to tell you that I'm not an expert. I know quite a few different methods. Like I said, I've been doing cryptography since I was 7 years old, but can you ever really become an expert? That's the real question. And again, this is geared towards beginners, so if you're not a beginner, well, you can teach your own stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go to the first one, which is, keep in mind that because these each have 300 points, that they kind of jump around sometimes. Right now they're in order, but next time they might not be in order. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start with the very first problem. And it says, who was the actor that spoke these words? So we're going to go ahead and open up a new tab. We're going to go ahead and paste this and ignore that. And here it comes upon a bunch of gibberish. What on earth, man? So, what on earth is this? Well, this particular cryptographic challenge is called a Caesar shift. And we're going to go to one of the websites that I like. Now there's multiple websites you can go to. I'm just going to show you a couple that I personally use and I personally like. If you go ahead and use, well, DuckDuckGo, which is what is here, or some other web browser, including Google, then you'll find tons and tons of information, tons of sites. So depending on how much you want to learn and your method for learning depends on what site's going to be best for you. In my case, in this instant, we're going to go ahead and go to Now this is a really cool little place, and it teaches you about a whole bunch of different types of ciphers and cryptograms and all this stuff, including modern cryptography, which is really, really cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to solve this cipher that we found. Now this particular cipher is called a Caesar shift cipher. And if you go down here a little bit, scroll down here, you'll read that I have lag. You'll read that it was originally used by Julius Caesar for sending encrypted messages to his troops. And it tells you how to encrypt and decrypt and how it works. In this case, it's a shift of 1. It tells you, here's a decryption thing right here. And there's decryption keys way up here. It doesn't like me, so I'll just scroll. Right here, if you see the cipher alphabet here, A is equal to A, B is equal to B. That's because we're on key 0. Now, if we were on key 1, let's go ahead and do a test. Hi, this is a test. And encrypt with key 1, you'll see that A is B. And there, A is B. You did key 2, A is C, and so on and so forth. So for this super long message, we can see there's a couple of different things. There's an N right here. So we know that N is either going to be A or it's going to be I. But we're going to be lazy, and we're just going to go ahead and try and decrypt with a key, instead of trying to figure out exactly which key there is. This is a beginner challenge, so we're going to go ahead and just do it automated. Oh, look at that. There's this cool little message. This says, "I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black, man, white, we all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there is room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's soul, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers! Don't give yourself to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourself to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then, in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world that will give men a chance to work, that will give a youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite. It's a pretty cool little speech there. So, the question is, who gave this speech? I'm sure a lot of you probably already know, but let's go ahead and just copy this first part. We're going to use a little bit of non-Google foo, because we're going to boycott Google. So we're going to use a little bit of DuckDuckGo foo. And hey, the first thing that pops up is the Great Dictator. And then it says Charlie Chaplin's controversial speech. So the question here was, who is the actor that spoke these words? Right answer in all lowercase. So our answer is Charlie Chaplin. And let's see if I can spell it right. Woohoo! And we got 300 points. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this. And again, I encourage you guys to go ahead and read more up on the Caesar shift and learn how to cipher and uncipher. Now we can make this really a lot more difficult by, say, doing a different alphabet. There's a couple here, but like you could also use, say, a Hawaiian alphabet, or you could use a different alphabet in a different language, and that would make it a lot harder to decrypt, and you would need to do it by hand, probably. But anyway, let's go ahead and close out of this. We're going to go back to this. We see a little question mark right here, and the question mark we can see down in the bottom right left hand corner. It has an index to HTML. So let's go ahead and go over to there. It has a bunch of dots and dashes. What on earth is this? Look, you can see a little almost happy face right here. Well, as most of you probably guessed, this is Morse code. And Morse code was used a lot for secret transmissions during World War II and World War I. And we're going to go ahead and just use a unit conversion website, just because I want to show you guys there's a lot of different websites out there. So let's go ahead and... Alright. So this is just a simple converter. I just found it via Google. I could have probably used the last website that we used, but I wanted to show a couple of different websites. And we're going to go ahead and we put that in there, and we're just going to do Morse code to text, and it just pops up a little "God is in the rain." Now it has a little question mark there because I left a little space over here. Now if I hadn't left a little space over there and I went ahead and did that, it's going to take the question mark out. So let's go ahead and copy this. We haven't even seen what the next one is. And index 2. Technically, you're not supposed to be able to paste. But, haha. People were not doing it in uppercase, so we fixed that. So that's a really, really simple Morse code. Morse code is just, you know, pretty cool to know, pretty cool to learn. And it is what it is, pretty much. You're not going to get a whole bunch of different different Morse codes. It's a standardized language. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go to the next 300, and this says index 9 HTML. Notice anything that stands out. So let's go over here, backspace, hit a 9, hit enter, and bam! And it says, so if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me 1 year from tonight outside the gates of Parliament, and together we shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgot. Wow. Okay. Now, it says, do you see anything that stands out? Now, what stands out? Well, I'm sure you probably saw the little K right here. And this is a cipher that was actually used by Shakespeare. And it's also used in a lot of prisons to communicate. So it's basically all the capital letters mean something. All the capital letters come together, and let's go ahead and open this up again. And we have an S, and a K, and an F, and a W, and an A, and an E. Now, if you know anything about this speech, you know that it was from V for Vendetta, and V was the one who did the speech. Well, obviously, there's no V in here. But there is a whole bunch. There's the W. Now, V, he used a mask, and this mask was from a real person who tried to blow up the powers that be back in his time. And his name was Guy Fawkes. And a lot of people recognize the Guy Fawkes mask as a symbol for anonymous. But it also represents freedom. It's a symbol of freedom. It's a symbol of courage and standing up for what you believe in. So, obviously there's no guy here, but it does look like this can spell fox. F-A-W-K-E-S, because it's not, what does the fox say? I know. And bam. Now, if I wanted to make this particular thing more tricky, This is fairly simple. We just didn't go in order, which would have made it really, really, really simple. Then we could actually put like a Caesar shift or a different type of cipher inside of here. So instead of it being a jumbled fox, it could be a straight something, but you have to shift it to see what it really is. But again, that's if it maybe for another CTF. Who knows? So let's go ahead and go to the last crypto challenge. And this is index 5. We're going to go ahead and go over here. We're going to go to index 5. And it says, H fat ug clemen lep upa hashrath. What on earth? Well, this is a called a letter substitution or substitution cipher. I call it Longfellow because in the newspaper challenges when I was a kid, there was always this challenge, and it always starts out with Longfellow, and underneath it is different letters, and it explains, you know, how to do the puzzle. And so I would sit there and I'd do those puzzles, and there are translators out there. There are technically AI translators, but we're not going to use an AI translator. So we're going to go ahead and go to Wordplays. Wordplays.com, and for a cryptogram, bam! Hey, check it out. Oh, and look, category cookie. Alright. But we're not going to actually use this. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to just take that daily out of here. And we're going to try and crack it. Now again, there are AI solvers out there, but we're not going to use an AI solver because I want to show something to you guys. The longer cryptographic messages, the easier it is to translate. If you have something short, like say this part right here, and you try and use a non-AI to solve it, well, it doesn't work so well. Look at all those things. What on earth? It has so many that it can't even list it all. But you know what? I like this one right here. And I should have done that one because that's so cool. Borg if designs ink zinc. Haha, that is so awesome. I love that. But if you use a whole sentence in one that's not AI, and it's long, you can generally have them solve it. Obviously here there's a K here and an M here because we didn't use that a lot. And I believe that's the only difference between the two. Alright, so if you're going to say try to decipher this by yourself, which then what you would look for is single and double digit words, or also triple digit words, such as these. You would also be looking for how many of each letter there is. E is the most commonly used letter in the American alphabet. So if you counted all these up, it's gonna be a lot of them. And a lot of times what you can do is, I believe it's E, T, S, and R, and sometimes N are the most commonly used letters. So if you go ahead and you count up how many T's there are, how many H's there are, how many F's there are, you're gonna get a certain number of them, and by that you can start trying to decipher it out. As you can see, the T, there's a lot of T's. Let's see, I wonder if it'll T. Do a find all. There you go. LibreOffice Writer. and say we pasted this in and we did a find for all the T's, find all. 28 words, 28 characters selected. So there's 28 T's. How many H's are there? There are 15 H's. How many F's are there? There are 24. So far, F and T are the ones that have the most. But anyway, that's if we go here, go to DuckDuckGo, and we go ahead and we go to most used. And this will bring you up to a tutorial. And it says start with the one-letter words, frequency analysis, and the importance of ETAOIN. So those are the most commonly used letters in the alphabet. The letter E appears much more frequently than any other letter, followed by TAOIN. Okay. So frequency analysis, importance of ETAOIN. Contracts and possessives are your friends. And it has TS, comma D, apostrophe T, apostrophe S, apostrophe T. And 2- and 3-letter words. The most common 2- and 3-letter words. These are not all the 2- and 3-letter words there are, but they are the most common that can help you solve it. So, on your own time, you can go ahead and look at that. But in the meantime, what this says is, what one word is the author talking about? Looking at this, what is he talking about? What is the it? It is love. So, if you guys can manage to swallow your pride and type in love, bam! We're going to go ahead and stop there with the crypto challenges. I'll start in on the steganography challenges next in my next video. Thank you so much for bearing with me, and I hope that you learned something. Thanks so much. Bye.